Did Ruby Rose's shocking allegation against Katy Perry happen nearly 20 years ago, or is this a new chapter in a familiar story? In the ever-evolving landscape of celebrity news, sometimes a story breaks that makes us question everything we thought we knew. Ruby Rose, known for her roles in Orange is the New Black and Batwoman, has recently made a series of explosive allegations against pop superstar Katy Perry. But what if there's a detail in this unfolding drama that you haven't noticed yet? This isn't just about a single accusation, it's about patterns, timing, and the public's perception of both artists. Why does this story matter now, and what are the implications for the entertainment industry? The allegations surfaced on social media, with Ruby Rose detailing an alleged sexual assault by Katy Perry at a Melbourne nightclub nearly 2 decades ago. This claim, made public years later, has sent shockwaves through the internet, sparking intense debate and speculation. But what makes this accusation so compelling, and why now? Ruby Rose's claims paint a disturbing picture of an incident that allegedly occurred when she was in her 20s. She describes the event in vivid detail, expressing the trauma she says she experienced. This raises immediate questions about the nature of the alleged assault and the long-term impact it may have had. But how do these allegations align with Katy Perry's public persona? This isn't the first time Ruby Rose has been in the public eye for controversial reasons. Her tenure on Batwoman was notably brief, marred by reports of workplace issues and alleged unprofessional behavior. These past controversies cast a shadow over her current claims, leading some to question the validity and timing of the accusations against Katy Perry. Is this a case of a victim finally speaking out, or something else entirely? Katy Perry, on the other hand, has largely maintained a positive public image. However, the entertainment industry is no stranger to scandals, and the timing of these allegations, close to other high-profile events, is raising eyebrows. Could there be a strategic element to when these accusations are being brought forward? What does this say about the power dynamics at play? The public's reaction has been sharply divided. Some are rallying behind Ruby Rose, calling her brave for coming forward. Others are more skeptical, pointing to her history and the passage of time. This complex situation forces us to confront difficult questions about consent, memory, and how we process allegations in the age of social media. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: it's a narrative with many layers, and the full truth may still be elusive. The first layer is context. Every documentary story begins before the moment people remember. There is a setting, a chain of decisions, and a public reaction that shapes how the event is understood. In the case of Ruby Rose Accuses Katy Perry, the important thing is not only what happened, but why the surrounding details made people pay attention. That is where the story begins to move from a simple summary into something more useful. It asks us to look at timing, location, pressure, and the way one moment can represent a much larger pattern. The second layer is what people often misunderstand. A single image or short clip can feel complete, but it usually leaves out the forces around it. Viewers see the result, not the build-up. They see the most dramatic frame, not the quiet details that made it possible. That gap matters because it changes the meaning of the story. When we examine Ruby Rose Accuses Katy Perry carefully, we are not just asking what is visible. We are asking what is missing from the first impression. Then comes the turning point. This is where the story stops being only about one scene and starts pointing to a bigger question. Why did this particular moment stand out? Why did people share it, debate it, or return to it later? The answer is usually not one simple fact. It is a combination of emotion, uncertainty, and recognition. People respond when a story feels specific, but also familiar enough to connect to something they already care about. Another important detail is the human tendency to look for a clean conclusion. We want a final answer, a clear lesson, and a single explanation that ties every loose end together. But strong documentary stories often resist that. They leave us with evidence, competing interpretations, and a reminder that public understanding is always incomplete. That does not make the story weaker. It makes it more honest. So what value can we take from Ruby Rose Accuses Katy Perry? The value is not just the event itself. It is the pattern around it. It shows how quickly attention forms, how easily context disappears, and how important it is to ask better questions before accepting the easiest version of a story. That is why stories like this continue to matter after the first wave of attention fades. In the end, Ruby Rose Accuses Katy Perry remains worth examining because it sits between fact and interpretation. We can see enough to understand why it matters, but not always enough to close the case completely. And that open space is where documentary storytelling becomes powerful. It does not tell us what to think. It gives us a clearer way to look. The story of Ruby Rose and Katy Perry is a stark reminder that behind the glitz and glamour, there are often complex human stories. Whether this is a long overdue reckoning or a calculated accusation, it has undeniably captured the public's attention. What will be the lasting impact of these claims? For more in-depth breakdowns of the stories shaping our world, be sure to subscribe.